call the regular city council meeting for June the 27th to order. And if I could have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Abdelgawad, absent. Councilmember Barber.
Present.
Councilmember Berenson.
Present.
Councilmember Burke, absent. Councilmember Forster.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Townsend.
Present.
Councilmember Wills, absent. Mayor Turnbow, absent.
Thank you. We have a quorum. If you could rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
I don't know if everyone is aware, there was a major derailment of Amtrak in the tiny town of Mendon, Missouri this afternoon. There were fatalities, multiple injuries. They have activated incident command, are evacuating wounded to multiple hospitals in about a 5 to 6 county area. I would say we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment of silence for that, sir.
And I would thank you for that reminder as well, Mr. Holman. Also, if we could also keep our own Councilwoman Abdelgawad in your prayers and her family. There was an untimely death of a family relative. If we could also keep her and their families in your prayers for a moment of silence, please. Amen. Thank you. And I don't see that we have any presentations or awards or personal appearances. So at this time, I'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Freeborn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I would ask that Mr. Crass make a report for the Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mr. Fairborn, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I just wanted to point out a couple of things in my monthly report. We are starting to see some infrastructure activity in some subdivisions, in particular Alexander Creek, Edgewater 9th of Creekmore, and Timber Trails. So hopefully we'll see some building permits there later this fall. Also, Public Works and Operations staff, as training has opened up, is taking advantage of training opportunities to obtain their continuing education unit requirements necessary for their DNR, number of their DNR certifications. That completes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Seeing none, Mr. Freeborn.
Thank you, Mr. Crass. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a report for Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, sir. I have submitted a written staff report tonight, but I want to highlight our big event coming up. The council, if you'll notice, I left a flyer at your seats there outlining some of the activities for this weekend's event. So the Spirit of America is our annual fireworks display. That is Friday night. Activities start around 7 o'clock and it'll go to around 7:45, and that is this year we're doing a unique thing with the live music, having 2 different bands come in. So the first portion of that is the American Legion Band of Greater Kansas City. That's a 50-piece instrumental band that'll be really exciting. I think the audience is really going to like that. And then we'll transition into our typical, more of a Southern rock, pop music type of event, all the way up to 9:30 when the fireworks go off. The layout of the event, it's pretty much the same as has been. The south parking lot will be shut down with, we have 7, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and I added another food truck. So we have 10 food trucks in that south parking lot this year. And our concession stands will be open as well. We'll have 2 serving windows, one for drinks only and then one for a full menu, or the menu that we're offering. Again, we'll have yard games and bounce houses, and so it looks to be a good time. The weather seems to be holding, so we should be in good shape. We're looking forward to being out at Recreation Park this weekend. One more thing is our summer camp. We are in full swing of summer camp. We're maxed out week after week. We have a large waiting list, and it's running very smooth, knock on wood. Now that I've said that, something will happen, but it's been going very well. So happy to answer any questions, and that concludes my staff report.
Thank you. I had a quick question. In years past, the vendor for the fireworks show had an app that played music synchronized with the display.
Yes.
Would that be the same? Would these participants be, or these performers do the music?
The last I heard, the performers were going to do it. We have a final meeting tomorrow. The J&M Displays discontinued the app last year because They just couldn't make that work. And so we will finalize that tomorrow, and I'll just have to surprise you Friday night.
Perfect, that's good. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town, but this is outstanding, seeing everything that's on the docket for that evening, so that's outstanding, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Mustine? Mr. Berenstain, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Nathan, great job on this event again. I know this has gained in popularity every year. I remember last year there was an issue with, there were so many people there that we had issue parking everybody. Is there any additional parking this year, or will it be the same as years past?
It's pretty much the same as years past.
We're pretty maxed out there.
We are maxed out. There was one year where we actually just closed the park and parking filtered out into the subdivisions and along the streets, but we didn't really lose parking with the rack. We shifted it to another location, so we can still park close to 1,000 cars throughout Recreation Park. It's just the event gets bigger. So when we close that park, you know we've got 2,500 to 3,000 people out there.
So for those watching at home, you may want to carpool.
If you live close, I would recommend you walk to the park.
All right, thank
Absolutely.
you. That concludes my PSA.
Thank you. And as a reminder, on the times for sale and discharge of fireworks, what was those times again?
Well, I will
Mr.
defer
Fearborn,
that to
probably
Mr. Fearborn
most appropriate.
or whoever.
Let me get back to you on that, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mustine. Thank you. Any other questions, staff? I'm sorry. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would call on Ms. Hill for a report from the city clerk's office.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, council. Staff witnessed the annual destruction of city records on June 17th in accordance with the Missouri Secretary of State's office. A detailed list of those documents that were disposed of is included in your council packets as Exhibit A and serves as the permanent record to comply with the Missouri Record Retention Manual. And that list will be attached to the minutes of this meeting for permanent record. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions of staff? Thank you, Ms. Hill. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. I would ask Ms. Harmer to make a report for the Communications Department.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. I have 2 items for you this evening. The first one is the e-waste collection event on Saturday was extremely successful. We had a steady stream of cars. The event went from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., but we had people lined up at 7 a.m., if you can believe that. So we actually started about 20 minutes early, and I think we got 40 or 50 cars through before 9 a.m. even hit. I just wanted to show you, also I want to thank the police department. Sergeant Rogers, I feel like he always gets stuck on the really fun stuff with me. So he's really nice about it if he does hate me. But I just really want to thank him for his help in directing traffic when he wasn't running calls. And so here's, I don't know if you can see this from where you are, but this is the first truck. Lots of pallets, neat and tidy, but very full. And the second and third trucks they filled were like, whoa, just filled as full as they could be. So again, really successful, and I hope that that's an event that we can have annually here, and there was no fee for the city to hold this with the company Tech Remove based out of St. Louis. Second item is soon, starting next week, you'll be seeing a lot of information about Question P, which is coming up on the August 2nd ballot. We'll start sharing information everywhere, and we are pleased to announce that the Raymore Chamber of Commerce has endorsed Question P. I will be sending you detailed information on Wednesday with the list of all the events we'll be in attendance, giving out information starting on Friday at the Spirit of America celebration, as well as all of the mailings, yard signs, and all of that other information. So right now, if anyone wants to check out all the info online, raymore.com/questionp has FAQs, and that is all I have for you right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harmer. Kind of a joint presentation tonight relative to the comprehensive plan. We're actually, while we're in the run for Question P, we're also in the final run now as we go into July next week for the community conversation on July 27th. So I would ask Mr. Gress to lead off that particular conversation with the council.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, thank you all. Just wanted to fill in for Mr. Eppert this evening and provide you all with an update on where things are at with the comp plan, and then parlay that into kind of what the council can probably expect and some of the community as well for the upcoming community conversations. So over the last couple of weeks, Mr. Eppert and I have been kind of crunching the data for the comp plan. So we've been looking at current and historic growth activity, growth projections, population projections, kind of leading up between 2009 when the current GMP was adopted and 2040-ish timeframe as to when we're kind of projecting the comprehensive plan. So been working really hard with a lot of data here over the last couple of weeks, Mr. Eppert and I. In addition to that, we've also held one meeting so far with the Public Management Center with KU to kind of plan out and facilitate the community conversations. So the council should expect some more detailed information later this week, but I wanted to kind of provide you all with a little preview of what can kind of be expected at that meeting. We can kind of expect an overview of the accomplishments that the city has achieved since the adoption of the strategic plan, kind of focusing on the 4 pillars of that overall plan that the council has adopted. That will kind of serve as a reflection of kind of where we've come from and where we're at right now. Following that, you can expect a series of individual breakout sessions. We've kind of deemed that envisioning Raymore over the next 20 or so years, posing the questions of, in 2040, what are the things about Raymore that you hope will change between now and then, and what are some things that you hope will remain the same in that same time frame? So again, should provide a good moment for reflection and serve as a little bit of a roadmap moving forward into the next part of that meeting, which will be group breakout sections, and very similar to what we did the last time, where KU will host using kind of an interactive tool to kind of rank responses and solicit feedback. But those sessions will be broken out into 2 kind of separate topics. The first one being land use and economic vitality. So staff will use that to gain insight on kind of the vision for development, for housing, and for business attraction and business growth over the next several years. And then the second piece of that will focus on infrastructure and parks. And so staff will use that to get some insight on any infrastructure improvements, whether that be roads or trails or sanitary sewers, as exciting as those can be, but all of that would eventually support future growth into the city, in addition to parks. And so how are we looking at expanding the local and regional parks that we have? We'll use that time to kind of highlight a lot of the great things that our Parks Department has done, some of those projects, but also plan for how we might look at better connecting those into the future. So again, the council can probably expect a more detailed agenda for that coming up in the next couple of days, and more information, as Ms. Harmer explained, will be coming out over the next couple of weeks as well. So that would conclude my staff report.
Any questions to staff? Ms. Forster.
On the community conversation, which I don't know who this might be directed at, I believe there's a limit of how many people can come. And so with that, is there a way for if it fills and other people still want to have input, is it being broadcasted, or is there a website? And also for people who are still concerned about that many people in an area, or I don't know who that directs.
That's great input. Normally, we have never had to limit. We've never hit the limit of folks who can be there. We can certainly be broadcasting it. Last time it was actually all virtual. So we'll work with KU to see if we can get, obviously they could be watching it and giving some kind of input, but for those of you who remember how it works, there's actually a theme building team, and each of the tables gives input, and then during a small break, the themes that they're hearing are being established. They wouldn't be able to participate in that particular portion of it because it's very automated, but they could be viewing it and giving input in comment sections.
So like on the YouTube page, they could be viewing, or however we broadcast it if they...
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any further questions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grass. Mr. Ferber?
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Mr. Gress. 3 items from me tonight for the council. Item 1, relative to the agenda tonight, Van Trust, which is item A of new business, has asked to be removed from the agenda for this evening, and that the item you'll remember the item was tabled, so the first action of the council would be to remove it from the table. They've asked that the item be completely removed from the agenda tonight. staff would be recommending to them and to the council that the item be placed on the July 11th agenda, and that the public hearing be reposted, because the public hearing has already taken place. And at the last meeting, you'll remember staff felt that it would be important to repost the public hearing. We'd be reposting the public hearing tomorrow in an immediate sense.
Thank you. And just to add some clarity and some additional commentary to that, because the number of the council are not here this evening, there was some good debate on that particular item, and it was in discussion best interest to hold until the full council and the mayor is back, so that we can have the same discussion and full conversation regarding that agenda item. So thank you to staff on that.
Thanks, sir. Second item from staff is great announcement. Consistently and every single year since 2004, the city has been awarded the Governmental Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. We have once again received that award. Congratulations to our entire finance staff and everybody who is involved in putting that delightful 500-page document together every single year, and good reward for them, great acknowledgement, and great recognition. Finally, next Monday, obviously, we will be celebrating Independence Day. No council meeting scheduled. Next council meeting will be July 11th. That concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Any other questions of staff? Seeing none, moving on to the next agenda item. There are no committee reports. And so moving to the consent agenda, we have two items on the consent agenda, items A and B. I'll entertain a motion to dispose of these items.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Holman.
Sir, I move at this time that we approve the consent agenda as presented, to include item A, City Council meeting minutes of June 13th, 2022, and item B, Silver Lake Drainage Improvement Project acceptance and final payment.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded to approve consent agenda items A and B, City Council minutes for June 13th, and Resolution 2217, Silver Lake Drainage Improvement Project acceptance and final payment. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passed. All those opposed? None here. Motion passes. I gotta count this out now. 5-0. We don't have the normal number tonight. Thank you. Now moving on to unfinished business. May I have the first reading of Bill 3727, second reading of Bill 3727 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3727 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Bright Construction for the Mazuma Force Main Replacement Project, City Project Number 22-378201, for the amount of $169,897, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. If there's no further discussion on this item, I'll entertain a motion to dispose.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Holman.
I move at this time that we approve Bill 3727, award of contract to Bright Construction for the Mazuma Force Main Replacement Project.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3727. Is there any further discussion on this item?
No, never mind. I was already voting.
Seeing none,
Sorry.
all those in favor? Now you can raise your hand. Thank you. No one opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. The agenda item passes 5-0. May I have the second reading of Bill 3728 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3728 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, amending the Restricted Revenue Fund 04 for the purchase of 2 tracts of real estate.
Thank you. I would entertain, if there's no further discussion on this item, I would entertain a motion to dispose.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Holman.
Sir, I move at this time that we approve Bill 3728, a budget amendment for the purchase of land for the future Justice Center and land for the police firing range.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. The motion has been made and seconded for the second reading of Bill 3728. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. The motion passes 5-0. Moving on to new business, as we've already discussed, item A has been continued until the 11th of July. So moving on to item B, may I have the first reading of Bill 3729 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3729 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, establishing an intergovernmental agreement with the Raymore Peculiar School District to provide school resource officer services for schools in Raymore and as requested at the East Middle School.
Thank you. Is there a staff report on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I would ask Deputy Chief Jim Wilson to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. You have before you the Raymore Peculiar School Resource Officer Agreement. The agreement is virtually the same as last year, excuse me, with the only difference being the East Middle School will be covered by the Cass County Sheriff's Office. This will allow our SRO more opportunity to be in the Raymore, in the elementary schools within Raymore. The agreement remains the same per day, $262 for a full day and $131 for a half a day, with a total of 212 days for the 2022-2023 school year. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Is there any questions? Seeing none. Thank you. Mr. Fairborn?
That includes staff report on this item, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. If there are any discussions of staff or questions of staff, if there are none, I entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Mr. Holman?
Sir, I move that we approve at this time Bill 3729, an agreement with the Raymore Peculiar School District for SRO services.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. The motion has been made and second to approve the first reading of Bill 37. I'm sorry, I was looking on my screen at something else differently. 3729 for the agreement with the Raymore Peculiar School District and SRO services. Are there any further discussions on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Motion passes. Motion advances 5-0. May I have the first reading of Bill 3731 by title only, please?
The first reading of Bill 3731 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, amending the FY 2022 budget and to update the schedule of fees for residential trash and recycling services.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I would ask Mr. Murdoch to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. Before you on Bill 3731 is the proposed fees for constable sanitation here for the upcoming year. The rates would go into effect on July 15th. As you know, the Consumer Price Index is what we base our trash and recycling fees on, and as probably everybody is aware, that has gone up dramatically over the last year, 8.6% here at the end of May. And so the proposed rate increase from constable sanitation is actually only a 5.38% increase as we go from $13.55 to $14.28 in trash and $5.20 to $5.48 in recycling. So constable sanitation is represented here tonight. So if you have any questions of them in regards to this fee increase, you're more than welcome to ask. And that concludes staff report.
Thank you. Is there any questions of staff? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Mr. Holman?
Sir, I move at this time that we approve Bill 3731, a budget amendment amending the schedule of fees for trash, recycling, and yard waste.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. The motion has been made and second to approve this item. Is there any further discussion on the item? Ms. Forster?
I just want to say thank you in the sense of if there's been an increase of 8% and you're only doing 5.8, that shows that you're not out just to get all the money you can. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Barrington?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Just want to add for the record, too, looking through this, there's no change in service at all. This is just a small increase in the price due to CPI, and then the service will stay exactly the same as it always has.
Excellent.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion on this item, I would take a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes 5-0. This takes us to the public comments portion of our agenda. If there's anyone from the public who would like to speak on an item of their concerns, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Seeing no one step forward, we'll move on to mayor and council comments. And I will start with Mr. Holman this evening.
Thank you, Your Honor. Congratulations to staff. It seems like this has kind of become the accepted standard when we've won the award for 18 years. I believe this dates back to your days as finance director. Am I correct, Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you for pointing that out, council member. Dates back, yes. As a matter of fact, it does.
It just, to me, it is another, it's one of many signs of the great strides that the city and the city staff have taken over the past several years, and that the standard is incredibly high anymore. And other people recognize this, not just us up here on the dais, not just the citizens, but outside entities as well. So congratulations again, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Forster.
Thank you. I just wanted to personally thank the Public Works Department. I've been getting a lot of people appreciating the curb work you've done on Maple Street. A lot of those huge holes are gone, so thank you. And it was hot when they were working on it, so, and they were working diligently, but still taking breaks like they should, but not too long. So I wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate that. And excited about the 4th of July celebration. I can't believe how many food trucks you got out there, Nathan. I think that'll be great for everyone hanging out, and that it's always turned out really well. So just all the hard work you've done to that, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the Spirit of America celebration again this year, and all the food trucks that are there. I'm going to make it my personal goal to try each and every one of them. So we'll see how big I look next time you see me. And I don't know, I had just mentioned to Mr. Constable on the way in that we really appreciate the job that their company's doing for our community. I don't know, how long has it been since we've had them here? Has it been 4 years? We're just closing out year 3. Just closing it. So it seems like 10 years ago that we've had the previous trash service, which didn't withhold the standards that your company does, sir. So I will commend you. The fine job you're doing makes it seem like that was such a long time ago that we've almost forgotten about it. So again, thank you for the job you're doing, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Good job tonight, too, by the way. Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback on Councilman Berenson on Constable Trash. I don't miss the emails. I don't miss all the social media postings about our trash. I like that there's really nothing said about it anymore. So because it works, you do a great job. You got a very popular guy that drives a truck in the Creekmore area. I know that the kids stop him and talk to him, and he's very popular. So he's good PR for your company. So good job and thanks, and hopefully we can continue to be great partners. Mr. Fairborn, back to this great job with your staff and this budget award. It seems like it's almost automatic, but I know it's not automatic. It's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of, I mean, it's your leadership, and did a great job. But I'm curious, we started getting this in 2004. When did you start with the city?
2004, sir.
Oh. So that's just a coincidence, I take it. But again, great job, and I'm sure that's going to continue. But it does show what the value people see in our city. Looking at really, as you said, the most important document that we do every year is our budget. It's how this city runs, and it's what keeps things straight, keeps things paid for, keeps things moving. So great job on that again. And Nathan, you know, I'm excited about the Spirit of America. I think to kind of piggyback on Councilman Berenson's comment, if you're going to continue to make this better and better and better, we are going to have some options for parking, because we can't tell people one of the best fireworks display in the city, you can't come and see it. So I know that's a good thing to have and a good challenge to have, and we can all put our heads together and help you with that at some point. But this looks fantastic, and hopefully the weather will cooperate, and I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. I'll also echo the comments of my colleagues as far as the financial award. I enjoy, it's funny to say, but enjoy reviewing the budget book. It is the most easy to read in comparison to some of the others that I have to see. I wish they would follow that model because it is very easy to digest and understand where the money's going and how we have it allocated. So I appreciate that. And I also add to the point that while Mr. Fruborn, as we hear giving him accolades, we do know and recognize that it's not Mr. Fruborn by himself. It's staff and the finance department with Ms. Williams and all the ones in that department that make that work, to put in the work and the effort to make that a reality for the years, and definitely the foundation that Mr. Fruborn has laid and his leadership, but by those in the trenches that's making it happen. So we do applaud them for their efforts to make that a reality year after year. So again, thank you. And that's to be said across the organization, because I was looking at LinkedIn. I believe our own Ms. Aguilar in HR received some accolades from her role as the president of the HR chapter that she's a member of. So we continually see that those in leadership positions within this organization also receive recognition outside of this organization for the work they do. So again, we are the flagship city and municipality in Cass County, if not in the region. So that's something that we can hang our hat on and be proud of, that we have the best of the best in the community. So thank you to everybody for making that a reality, and thank you for the colleagues that sit on this dais that also aid in that effort. So I have nothing further. Were you able to find the...
We were, sir. Thank you very much for the segue. I was going to raise my hand. 10 to 10, the first, second, and third. 10 to midnight on the 4th itself.
Okay, so 10 to 10.
So they can start shooting this Friday.
This Friday and Friday only.
That's right, it is a Sunday, not before noon on Sunday. That's correct. That's a secondary part of it.
Yes,
Thank you for that, Ms. Hill.
Go to church, go to Sunday school, and then you can after that. So go to Sunday school, then after Sunday school, you can do your fire. Okay, thank you for that. If there are no further on the items on the agenda this evening, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Holman.
Tip of the spear, sir, hoorah.
Hoorah.
And I move that we adjourn this June 27th, 2022 meeting of the Raymore City Council.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. I don't think there will be a discussion, so I'll take a vote on the motion.